right, we're discussing the karmic debt number 13-4. So basically, the karmic debt number 13-4 indicates that you have a debt to pay in this lifetime for actions performed in a former lifetime. When a karmic number shows up, it's telling you that you'll experience significant challenges with a particular topic in your life. It'll depend on where it lands in your chart as to what the overall effect might be. Understand also that your chart consists of many numbers and influences, so if you have the karmic 13-4, it'll play a part in your overall personality, and yet it isn't the only factor, so keep that in mind. So while this can be seen as an uh-oh, it's actually really good to know that the struggles you're most likely experiencing can be given a name and can offer more meaning and perspective. It's rather like having credit card debt. You have to decide to forego that vacation or buying that expensive car because instead you have to use that money to incrementally pay off your credit card. If you don't pay it off, the debt keeps accumulating, it consumes your life, right? The collection service starts calling, the repo man shows up, you get the picture. So when you see a karmic number, it simply indicates that you have a debt to pay, which of course translates into a particular lesson to learn. Luckily, knowing the nature of the debt you're paying is a bonus and a positive thing. When you can identify and name it, you can in some ways embrace it, take it seriously, and do something about it. If a 13-4 shows up as one of your numbers, understand that you're now paying back for past abuses where carrying your share of the workload was seriously abused. On top of that, the karmic number 13-4 indicates that creative energy and positive expression turned into superficiality, irresponsibility, and using words to hurt others. Remember that the number 1 in 13 always indicates selfishness. This is the common denominator for all the karmic numbers. The 13-4 indicates that you're being asked to monitor and master the art of positive expression. And you can understand that as thinking before you speak, not resorting to being critical, negative, and judgmental, and using your words to support and uplift others rather than to hurt them or tear them down. You're also required to develop a strong sense of responsibility with a focus on follow-through. You must develop a strong work ethic, and you'll be required to pay attention to practical matters throughout your life. And so now that you know this, and if it resonates with you, then now what? Right? So how do you deal with it? Or how do you understand what this brings to the table in your life? So I like to describe it this way. You're now being asked to be the highest and best version of the positive characteristics of the number 4, including being goal-oriented, hardworking, systematic, and knowledgeable. If you have the 13-4 as one of your core numbers, you'll most likely act upon the more destructive tendencies of the number 4 until the lessons have been understood, acknowledged, acted upon, and mastered. The trick is that it will not be easy. You will get a throwdown in the realm of the lessons of the number 4, and you'll be called upon to really work it in a conscious and consistent manner. The path of the number 4 is process-driven and slow and steady. The number 4 also offers challenges related to limitation. This can manifest itself in all kinds of ways, yet when it's coupled with the 13, it's imperative that you understand that the bottom line is that you commit to doing the work and doing it without hostility or exasperation. It's all about tenaciously pursuing your goals, yet in many ways you're being asked to whistle while you work rather than face each task, with hostility or exasperation and resentment. This means you have to actually have goals. And then you must discipline yourself and go the extra mile or extra 50 miles to manifest them. And you'll be met with more than your share of limiting circumstances along the way, making the victories even sweeter. I've also found that even when you're actually pursuing this information through numerology or other metaphysical tools, you've come to a point in your personal evolution where you've probably been able to work through a lot of this turbulence related to the karmic number, which doesn't mean it's over with, and yet it does mean that you've been able to integrate the requirements into your life in a more productive way. I find people with karmic numbers often express that they've always felt this strange internal compass or mechanism that heightens their sensitivity to traveling the straight and narrow. For instance, many who have the karmic 13-4 have told me that they've always felt this intense sense that they must be organized and work hard at all times, and that this is a driving force in their lives. They feel added intensity around the ability to be responsible and reliable and to work hard and get things accomplished. And they are very aware of their adverse reaction when they feel that they aren't being disciplined or aren't working to achieve a specific goal. Yet also, in order to pay back the karmic debt, you need to step into the most powerful and positive qualities of the number 4. This is a lifelong endeavor. Some of the traits that must be grappled with might include the following: a lack of focus. The number 4 is all about creating and following a systematic way of doing things. It's all about concerted effort. It's foundations energy, meaning that you are the one who sets the trajectory, formulates a systematic way to achieve it, and then engages in the step-by-step processes that will bring what you're doing to fruition. And when you have the added energy of the karmic 13, you'll find more distinct challenges in embracing the process. You might find that you have a tremendous issue with grounding yourself and committing to something for the longer term. You might struggle with a lack of focus and have issues deciding where to specifically you want to focus your energies. Working hard and working smart. Part of the overall challenge with the 4 is in a healthy balance of concerted effort without falling into either being this work martyr or being the one to start out strong and then abandon your efforts when when you just need to lean into it. Often the 13-4 struggles with the inability to settle in for the long haul, instead flitting from job to job or from place to place. All the while feeling frustrated that no gains are being made, and with a feeling of deep frustration that you aren't getting the results you would like to get. And often this frustration comes out as blaming others for your lack of progress. The 13-4 needs to feel a sense of connection and meaning with their work, because work is the nucleus of your 13-4 identity. Yet there can be a frazzled sense of overwhelm and scattered focus that can overtake even the best laid plans. You can be the workaholic and blaze forward relentlessly and treat life as though you're like this dog with a bone. And this often presents to others as a rather blunt and bossy persona, where you place yourself in the position of micromanager and feel as though your way is the only way. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you can't settle in and focus on something for the longer term. Also, you might struggle with inertia and boxing yourself into limiting circumstances. Obstacles with communication. The oppositional pole presents itself with great strength when you're working with the karmic 13. Therefore, you can be met with issues related to the opposite of your purpose. So, rather than forging ahead with clear goals and the conviction to meet those goals, you can succumb to heightened levels of frustration and despair in your life. Rather than being the purveyor of knowledge and the one who's tried and true, you can fall into the rally cry of, oh, it's not fair, and why does this always happen to me? And get caught up in the quagmire of negativity mixed with a sense of entitlement that you feel someone or something is standing in the way of your success. Medical intuitive Carolyn Mace, who has a 13-4 in her numerology chart, expresses some great bullet points for the 13-4 in her TEDx talk titled Choices That Can Change Your Life. She outlines what I would consider a mission statement for the 13-4 when she asserts first that you must live a life of integrity. Second, she says we must choose wisdom or woe, challenging us not to pass on our suffering, but rather pass on our wisdom. And third, we must choose to take risks and not to sabotage ourselves while waiting for proof. Miss also says this, which every 13-4 should seriously write out and tape onto your bathroom mirror as a daily affirmation. She says, life will never be what is called fair. It's about looking at what's happened to us and saying, this will never defeat me. I must turn this into my source of wisdom. Just know at the get-go that you'll have to work harder and with more conviction in order to get where you want to go. One of the intriguing things I've found when working with the karmic debt is this. Always remember that you're also being called upon to pay special attention to the elements of the number where your infraction is located. So for you, this is the number 3 in 13. What does this mean? It means that you'll also be asked to infuse some positive elements of the energy of the 3 into your 4 life path purpose. And this brings some interesting dynamics because the 3 is all about joy, optimism, creativity, and emotional self-expression. These elements aren't always really congruent with the purpose of the 4, which is more serious, hardworking, and literal-minded. Yet the karmic 13-4 blossoms and is at its highest and best when you are also mindful about bringing the buoyant creativity and expressive beauty of the 3 into your solid and steady number 4. No one said that this would be easy. So, this dynamic holds amazing power when you understand what you're being called upon to do. And also understand that if this description just doesn't sound anything like you or who you think you are, then potentially you're at a stage of development and maturity in your life and have been working diligently on your own personal growth, where you're more in alignment with the constructive elements of the number 4. If that describes you, hats off. You have been doing your work, and it never hurts to give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. The gift you're given by knowing that you have a karmic debt to pay is that rather than feeling victimized, you can see that this is something that you brought on yourself, despite the fact that you can't remember it consciously. Not in a shameful way, rather in a mindful way where you simply take responsibility for yourself. If you exert the energy and commitment to working in the positive realms of the number 4, then you will reap the benefits. A side note here also, just a heads up that oftentimes if you have a 13-4 as your life path number, this can also show up as the master number 22-4, depending on how you choose to calculate it. You might want to see my book Master Numbers 11, 22, and 33, The Ultimate Guide, for a more complete discussion about how this might show up. Working with the karmic 13-4 intensifies the issues related to the number 4. It requires concerted effort and focused commitment. It's testing you and requiring that you rewire the way you work with process, stability, knowledge, security, and hard work. The destructive path might feel a bit more comfortable since you've been there, done that. And yet this time you're being asked to extract yourself from riding in that same rut in the road. You're required to create a new way of working with these themes that have positive and productive results for you and everyone around you.